Finding Myself Between the Noise. Chapter 1: Living for Everyone Else. Adam had learned early in life how to become the person others needed. He grew up believing that love was conditional, that it had to be earned through effort, responsibility, and silence. If he caused no trouble, if he helped when asked, if he stayed strong even when he felt weak, then he would be valued. This belief followed him into adulthood and quietly shaped every decision he made. From the outside, Adam's life looked stable and respectable. He had a steady job, paid his bills on time, and rarely disappointed anyone. Friends described him as reliable, his family as successful. Yet beneath that image, Adam lived with constant pressure. It felt as if he were holding his breath, afraid that if he relaxed even slightly, everything would fall apart. His mornings began with anxiety. Before his feet touched the floor, his mind replayed conversations from the day before, searching for mistakes. He remembered things he should not have said and things he should have said better. Even before the day began, he already felt behind. At work, Adam performed well, but praise made him uncomfortable. Compliments felt undeserved, almost threatening, as if they raised expectations he could not maintain. Every positive comment triggered the same thought: if they really knew me, they wouldn't say that. He lived in quiet fear of being exposed, not as a failure, but as someone who was never enough. Social comparisons followed him everywhere. On his phone, people his age were getting married, building careers, moving confidently toward goals they seemed sure about. Adam felt like a passenger in his own life, watching others move forward while he stayed stuck, exhausted from pretending he was fine. At night, when everything became quiet, his thoughts became unbearable. He told himself he had no right to complain. Others struggled more. Others had real problems. So he stayed silent, convincing himself that his feelings were weakness rather than warnings. One evening, while sitting in a cafe with his friend Sam, Adam listened as Sam spoke excitedly about future plans. Adam nodded, smiled, and responded automatically. When Sam suddenly asked, "Are you actually okay?" the question reached a place Adam had been avoiding for years. "I feel like I'm always trying to catch up," Adam admitted quietly. "Like I'm doing everything right, but none of it feels like it belongs to me." Sam didn't interrupt or give advice. After a pause, he simply said, "You never rest because you think you haven't earned it." That sentence followed Adam home. Lying awake that night, he realized how much of his life was built around expectations. Be strong, be useful, don't disappoint, don't slow down. For the first time, he admitted a painful truth. He did not know who he was without pressure, and that scared him more than exhaustion ever had. Chapter 2: Learning to Stay with Himself. Change did not arrive suddenly or dramatically. There was no moment where Adam woke up confident or healed. Instead, change began with discomfort. He started noticing how cruel his inner voice was and how often he punished himself for being human. Rest felt like laziness. Boundaries felt like selfishness. He treated himself in ways he would never treat someone he loved. One morning, emotionally drained and overwhelmed, Adam made a decision that terrified him. He stayed home from work, not because he was physically sick, but because he could not continue pretending. Guilt rushed in immediately. He imagined disappointment, judgment, and consequences that never came. The world did not collapse, and that realization was unsettling. That day, Adam took a long walk without music or his phone. He listened to his breathing and the sound of his steps. For the first time, he allowed himself to exist without producing anything. It felt unfamiliar and uncomfortable, but also strangely honest. At night, Adam began writing, not goals or plans, but feelings. He wrote about his fear of being forgotten, his fear of losing people if he stopped being useful, and his confusion about who he was without constant pressure. The writing was messy and uncomfortable, but it was real. As weeks passed, Adam practiced saying no. At first, he over-explained and apologized. Some people understood, others pulled away. Losing approval hurt, but it revealed something important. The relationships that remained felt safer and lighter. One evening, during dinner with his mother, she mentioned that he seemed calmer. When Adam told her he was learning to be kinder to himself, she looked at him softly and said, "You were always kind to others. I'm glad you're finally including yourself." That night, Adam cried, not from sadness, but from release. Slowly, Adam understood that self love was not confidence or motivation, it was presence. It was staying with himself during discomfort instead of escaping it. It was allowing growth without punishment. There were still difficult days. Doubt still returned. But now Adam answered it gently. He reminded himself that life was not a race and worth was not something to earn. Chapter 3: The Choice That Changed Everything. The opportunity arrived quietly, which made it more dangerous. Adam received the email on an ordinary afternoon at work. It was an offer for a promotion, more responsibility, higher pay, and a role many people waited years to achieve. Before he had time to think, congratulations surrounded him, as if the decision had already been made. That evening, alone in his apartment, Adam reread the email. The words were polite and full of trust. This was what he was supposed to want. Yet instead of pride, he felt fear tightening his chest. The promotion meant longer hours, constant pressure, and returning to the version of himself who survived by ignoring his limits. That night, his mind argued with itself. One voice told him turning it down would be irresponsible and disappointing. Another voice, quieter but steadier, asked a different question. What will this cost me? For the first time, Adam did not ignore that question. He imagined his life if he accepted less rest, more anxiety, and the slow disappearance of the small peace he had just begun to feel. He also imagined turning it down, the confusion, the judgment, the fear of being misunderstood. The next morning, Adam requested a meeting with his manager. His hands shook as he spoke honestly. He said he was grateful, but he was not ready. He said he needed balance more than status. Silence filled the room. Then his manager nodded. "That's a brave decision," he said. "Most people don't listen to themselves." Walking out of the office, Adam felt scared, but light. For the first time, his decision was not based on fear or expectation, but on self-respect. That evening, standing on his balcony and watching the city lights flicker imperfectly, Adam understood something clearly. Self-love was not a feeling that arrived one day. It was a choice, one he would have to make again and again. And for the first time in years, Adam wasn't waiting to become someone else. He was finally living as himself.